This is Rosen Institute's Your Law Firm, where we discuss law practice management, marketing, and new technologies to grow your law firm. Here's your host, Lee Rosen.
15 things you can do now to change your results. I was in one of the coaching sessions that I do with lawyers, and I said, basically, change the system. And the lawyer got upset and said, I don't have a system. And we got into it, and I said, basically, you do have a system. It's just a crappy system. If you're not getting the results you want, then you need to change the system. We all have a system at some level or another. We are doing something, that's the input, that is getting something, that's the output. And if the system isn't working, then it's a crappy system. We can change it. It just isn't doing what we need it to do. So we all have a system that gets us the results that we get. If the system is bad, the results are bad. The system works perfectly to deliver bad results because that's the design of the system. And many of us have systems that deliver bad results consistently over and over and over again, repeatedly. Thankfully, we are not required to stick with that system. We can change the system. We can alter the input, and we can get a new output. The reality is that often the new system, the new actions that we take are no more difficult or time-consuming than the old approach that we were taking. But because we're now doing the right things, because our input is now the right stuff, we get the right things out of the system. Our results change. We get the right output. So today, I want to run through with you 15 ideas that you can use to change your bad systems into better systems. When you change these inputs, you are going to get better outputs. Number 1, set a goal. For most of us, the goal is quite simple. It is to survive until tomorrow. And what happens when that's your goal? Well, it pays off. It works. When your goal is to survive until tomorrow, for most of us, the outcome is that we survive until tomorrow. It works. What if the goal was bigger? What if the goal was beautiful and powerful and meaningful? What if the goal was about achieving health and wealth and happiness and fulfillment? If you are someone who already achieves your goals, like survive until tomorrow, then why not pick a goal? Why not choose a goal right now that will make a bigger difference in your life? Remember, you already have a system. How about we change the input? If the system works, let's use it to get a better output. So number 1 is set a goal. Number 2, one thing per day. You know, this is true of me, and it's probably true of most lawyers. Your task lists are probably overly ambitious. And then you get distressed when the list gets longer instead of shorter. So you double down and you pledge to work even harder going forward. But what happens when your list gets longer and longer? Eventually, you stop checking it. At some point, at least many of us abandon the list entirely. We spend our days responding to the urgent matters as they come in, and the list, that great list that got so long, becomes a faint and distant memory. What if you did the opposite? What if you changed the system? What if you promised yourself to do just one thing instead of many things? Maybe if by committing to do just one thing from the list, maybe then you would stop ignoring the list. I think that a better system is to pick something, anything, each day and get it done, regardless of the interruptions. Don't worry about anything else on the list until the one thing is done. By focusing on a priority instead of on the entire list, you'll knock something off the list each day. Over a year, that's a lot of things off the list. Move toward your goal one day at a time. Small steps get you there. There will be good days. There will be bad days, but you'll get where you're going if you'll take one step each day and do one thing from the list. Number 3, let's talk some more about this list of tasks. Delete the tasks you'll never do. How many things on your list have been on there forever? I'll bet you it is a shocking number that you put on there way back and you keep carrying them forward. Look, you're not going to do them, right? That's the reality. Accept it and move on. For instance, I bet you need a new will. You probably put your will on your task list back in 2012, and it's still there, still waiting to get done. Just accept that you are going to die either with the old will or intestate, and scratch that thing off the list that you're never going to do anyway. There are many things you ought to do that you will never do. There's just no point in keeping those tasks on the list and letting them distract you from all the things that you will do. Personally, I can't entirely cope with just deleting all of those things. So I cut them and paste them. I take them off of my list that on my task management system, and I paste them in a list in Evernote where I don't ever really see it and I can get it off my mind. And I use my task list for the things I'm actually going to do. Number 4, this is a big one. Stop spending money you don't have. Until you set a goal and hit your financial target, lay off the spending. How about you stop adding to the payroll when you don't have the cash? How about you stop buying extra software and services you don't need? How about waiting on the new car? What if you put off renting that bigger office space? The lawyer says to me, we're borrowing money to get things going. We need cash to get the business off the ground. Or the lawyer says, we're using credit to meet our payroll over the holidays. Or the lawyer says, we had to borrow to buy some equipment and some furniture. Listen, these stories all end up in the same way. They all end up with a pile of debt and a law firm struggling to make the payments. When revenues fall, expenses need to drop also. Borrowing to meet a shortfall just creates long-term debt. Oddly, the debt never seems to get paid back when the revenues go back up, because when the revenues go up, expenses always go up. When revenues go down, most of us don't lower the expenses, and we need to. Look, there is rarely a surplus in a law firm. How is that possible? I don't know. I don't do math because I went to a liberal arts college and they let me find a way to get out of taking math. But I can tell you that I've seen enough profit and loss statements and balance sheets of law firms to tell you that there is rarely a surplus, and when you borrow money, it's really, really tough to pay it back. Number 5, hire much later. Speaking of spending money that we don't have, payroll is the biggie. We hire prematurely. We're not ready, we can't afford it, and the business can't justify the expense. We hire prematurely for a mix of reasons. Some of us feel too busy, probably because our price is too low, or we feel insecure because all the other lawyers refer to their assistants or to their associates. Your ego will be happier with cash that you earn to buy things. Your ego only feels better for a few minutes when you hire an associate, but you have to keep paying that associate long after the ego boost is over. So slow down on hiring. Bring somebody on only when you're overwhelmed with quality clients paying premium fees. I know that you believe that hiring is critical to your success, but doing it early has the exact opposite effect. Hire much, much later. Number 6, fire the worst client. This one is some kind of fun, in my opinion, because there is always a terrible client, and that client is sucking the life out of you. They are 80% of your distress and misery. They're the reason that you're too tired to go to the gym or too stressed out to take a referral source to lunch. Change your system so that you eliminate these clients earlier and earlier. Eventually, you'll reach the point where you never take them on in the first place. But for now, find a way out of the engagement. Find a way to refer that client to somebody else. Wrap things up and ship that client out the door. Fire the worst client. Number 7, stop comparing yourself. So many lawyers spend energy comparing themselves to other lawyers. We are obsessed with competition in so many unhealthy ways. It's a pointless waste of time. And we use these comparisons that we make to decide so many things about our business. Things like where should we locate the office, or how should we decorate, or whom should we hire, or how much should we earn, or what should we charge, or what kind of clients do we want, or what kind of car do we drive, or what kind of house should we buy. These comparisons don't serve your business interests or your personal interests or your psychological well-being. Create your own circumstances, your own market, and your own business model, and do it with reference to customers. Clients are the people who determine your fate, not the other lawyers. Break free of these self-imposed constraints that are promoted by the lawyer culture. Chart your own course. Find your own path. Your system doesn't have to be their system. Number 8, charge more. Some clients love you. Some clients hate you. Their feelings are rarely connected to your low price. How many clients have ever told you that you were great because you're so cheap? No, that is not what they say. They love you because you call them back. They love you because you're passionate about helping them. They love you because you care. They don't love you because you're cheap. That is not what they say, and it's not what they think. They love you for all the good things you do and all the things you are. Now, I'm not saying there aren't upper limits to what an attorney can charge, but the reality is that you are probably not hitting those upper limits. You're probably not even close. And lawyers hesitate about increasing fees. They've got all sorts of reasons. Oh, the competition charges less, or I know the clients are price sensitive because they ask about it on the phone, or the clients can't afford what I'm charging right now. Listen, most lawyers base their fees on the concerns of prospective clients who never become clients. That doesn't help your bottom line. Charge what the people who love you are willing to pay. Charge more. You are worth it. Number 9, talk more about your client and not about yourself. Everybody wants you to talk about them. Nobody wants to hear about you. They want you to tell them about themselves. They get antsy when you stop talking about them and start talking about yourself. enough about you. Let's talk some more about me. That's what they want to say. Humans are completely absorbed with their own issues, and that's especially true of our clients who are going through some sort of adverse circumstances. But the reality is that it's true of nearly everyone. So how come when you sit down to work on your website copy, you write about yourself? How come when you're at lunch with a referral source, you talk about your law firm instead of about your clients? How come when you give a speech at Rotary, you are the hero of the story instead of the client? I know, you will tell me that they need to know about my expertise and experience. I get it, that's what you'll say, but it's not true. They need to know that you know about them. They want to feel understood. They'll pick you because you know their story. They only need to know about your qualifications when they feel compelled to justify the decision that they already made. They only need to know about you to justify the emotional decision they made when they felt understood. Number 10, trust your gut. When it comes to growing a business, failing to make a decision is worse than making a bad decision. Analysis paralysis is death. It is death. So get moving. Pick an option. Make something happen. Build a system to monitor your progress so you can measure the results of your decisions. Build a numbers-based decision-making process for next time. But this time, because you don't have that numbers-based system, you need to go with your gut so that things will start happening. I know that it's scary to make decisions without all the information, without all the data and all the input from everybody else. But it is essential that you make a decision if you're going to keep making forward movement. If your personal system involves lots of waiting and wondering, it's time to start deciding and acting and moving. You've got to trust your gut. You've got to trust yourself to do the right thing. Number 11, do the marketing first. If you don't do the marketing first, it won't get done. That's lawyer life. That's just the way it is. If you put off marketing until you finish the client work, then it is permanently on hold because you will never finish all of the client work. So make the calls for lunches and coffee dates with referral sources first thing in the morning. Write the articles for publication before you return the first client calls. Arrange the speeches and the seminars and the webinars or whatever you like before you get going for the day, because the next thing you know, it'll be 7 at night and you'll have pushed the marketing over to tomorrow. The marketing only gets done if it gets done first. Move it up and accept the imperfect results you're going to get from your system if you don't move it up. Number 12, fire the negative employee. What should you do about the negative employee who is dragging down the team? You know the one, the troublemaker, the person who is pulling your attention from your priorities, who makes you worry about who's going to quit because of their interaction with that negative employee. I know, that negative employee is productive. That negative employee generates revenue. That negative employee adds some value, but let's face facts. You are going to fire that person eventually. Why not do it today? Why not do it right now? You will feel better, the business will grow faster, and the other employees will know that their performance matters, that there are limits, that nobody can get away with everything. Number 13, communicate more. I know that most of us feel like we communicate all day long. By 6 at night, we are exhausted from the communication. In fact, some days we will even lose our voices. We talk so much. But are you saying important things to the right people? Are you listening when you communicate with people? Are you giving employees feedback so they can grow and improve? Are you giving praise to your team when they get things right? Do you coach your team when the opportunity arises? What about clients? Do you focus on the clients with emergencies, or do you reach out to the others who are likely to ultimately leave a positive 5-star review for you on Google? Do you proactively update your clients, or do you wait for them to call you to check on the status of the case? Does your communication make the clients feel like you care, or do they feel ignored because you're too busy with that crisis of the moment client? Number 13 is communicate more. Number 14, be embarrassed. Our fear of embarrassment prevents us from achieving better results. We feel this pressure to conform to the group norms. So we hesitate to market our practices in ways that stand out. We worry that we'll look unprofessional or weird. So we choose to market our businesses in ways that make us look totally normal. Then we're baffled when our marketing results are unexceptional. Look, you need to jump up and stand out and be different and avoid conformity. You need to experiment more, try new things, and be more human. If you'll take a risk with more people in your marketing and in your client relations and in your advocacy, you will get better results. Risking embarrassment will give you better outcomes. Don't be afraid to be real and vulnerable and imperfect. Look, being embarrassed isn't the worst thing that can happen, is it? It's not permanent, it's not forever, and it might be the reason that your system gets better results. Number 15, measure it. They say that what gets measured gets managed. That's even truer with lawyers. We are competitive. We may not like the game, but we like boosting the score. So hack your personality by measuring the things that cause your profits to go up. Find the behaviors that cause your practice to thrive. Create a scoreboard for these behaviors. Then it's game on as you push yourself for a higher score. Every good system tracks outcomes. That's the only way to know whether you need to change the inputs or to change the system itself. Build a scoreboard and you'll start winning. Let's wrap up. You need a better system. You'll get different results if you change the inputs into the system. You'll get better results when you stop doing things that don't work and start doing things that do work. Make a change, measure the impact, and pay attention to your results. Monitor, measure, and then make more changes. Optimize your system for the results that you seek. Don't expect the outcome to change if you don't change your input. If you're happy with your results, then keep following your approach. But if you want different results from your system, it's time to make a change. These 15 ideas that I've given you will start you moving in the right direction. Until next time, I'm Lee Rosen.
Thanks for listening to Your Law Firm. For more information on how you can take your law practice to the next level, visit roseninstitute.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes. Follow Lee Rosen on Twitter at Lee Rosen